Hey YouTube dippers, this is Dippin' Coke 90 again, coming at you. Hold on. Alright. This is Dippin' Coke 90 coming at you live. I got a video I've been waiting to do, and I meant to do this about 2 weeks ago. And this video's, turn this down a bit. I was gonna do it for my buddy who sent me it, being that I know me and a lot of others out there still, they don't sell it in your state yet. Sorry about that. Copenhagen Mint's what we're doing today. Oh, good. I'm gonna be dipping this, and I'll tell y'all in a minute of how it tastes and all that. But before we do, this video goes out to Roy Coward. Thanks for sending me Copenhagen Mint. I appreciate that, man. This is my last pinch, unfortunately, and wishing I had some more because it is pretty good. For somebody, I don't really care for mint flavored dips too much. I like to dip it during the winter time and every once in a while. But for somebody that don't dip mint all that much, I don't dip it a whole lot like I used to. I think I might have found my favorite dip. If we were to sell this here where I live, I'd probably dip this every day as an everyday dip. This and my usual favorite are three: Copenhagen Straight, Southern Mint, and Wintergreen. This would probably be my fourth favorite, you know. Because now a lot of people wonder, man, how come I said before that Whiskey Blend is my favorite and Copenhagen Black? Well, they are. Now, just like mint, if they sold it here, last time I was able to buy Copenhagen Black, for example, folks, is 2011 Christmas. Well, a couple days before Christmas, or something like that, around the holiday. I brought the last 2 cans, and after that, I haven't had a can until last year. My friend sent me my first can of Copenhagen Black that I had in 2 years and all. So those are hard to come by. That's like a specialty for me. Getting Copenhagen Mint, Whiskey Blend, and Black, that's like a little special treat for me from my friends because I can't find those here. Those are like specialties. I have to get my friends to get them for me because they don't sell them in my state. There's only 3 Copenhagens that they don't sell in my state. And I tell you what, this means dipping this mint marks that I've dipped every Copenhagen flavor out there except for one. And can y'all guess which flavor that is? And if you guessed Hickory Blend, then you got it right. The only flavor I ain't never had. Now there's one Coke product out there that I've had that I wished I could get again. About 2 years ago, I went in the store and asked for Copenhagen Straight, and when they gave me the can, it said Coke Straight. So I've dipped the Coke series before, all 3 of them, because you know they only have Whiskey Straight and Hickory Blend in the Coke series. Excuse me if it don't look like I have a whole lot at a baby pit, because that's all that I got left. I saved that for this video. See if I can scoop up some more. See, I spent the first 4 minutes talking about blah blah blah. Now let's get down to it. It's one thing I hate in my videos. I hate the blah blah blah. But then again, I gotta make this video extend the video, because there's gonna be a couple of subjects I'm gonna talk about referring to this video. Now, on to the next subject. Well, first of all, I meant to tell y'all, I give this a 8 out of 10. This is an amazing dip right here. And it tastes way better than Grizzly Mint to me. Because I spent a lot of time, every time I dipped mint, it was always Grizzly, up until my friend sent me this. I think if we sold this, I would never dip Grizzly Mint again. I'd be dipping Copenhagen Mint. And by the way, folks, when this came out, I thought the same thing I did when Wintergreen came out my senior year in high school in 2009. When they introduced Wintergreen, I told my friends, they were around the school going like, you know, they're coming out with a Wintergreen. I'm like, bullshit. Same thing I thought when they came out with Copenhagen Black. Boo, they ain't... Well, actually, I kind of figured that would come out after a while, but Wintergreen was a flavor I never thought Copenhagen would make. The only reason why I kind of believed Copenhagen Black for a while was because it's kind of like a natural flavor. Just like a kick of bourbon to it. But flavor dip, I never thought Copenhagen would come out with mint and wintergreen. So, when I was in high school, a friend came to school one day with wintergreen. Said, here you go. I'm like, oh crap, they do have wintergreen. Where'd you get it? Because I'm thinking they're not selling it in every gas station around town. Just like when Southern Blend came out. Only selected gas stations around my area sold it. But not the gas station up the street here, or up the road, whatnot. But when this came out, everybody, I bet you every dipper I know was thinking this was not real. That they weren't really coming out with a mint, that it was just a teaser. You know, one of those advertisers that teases the public that think they're coming out with it. But after seeing like Darcy and Outlaw's videos, I knew it was real, because like they said in their video, of course it's real, they got it in their hand. So that's when I was like, oh, everybody's gonna want some of that, some mint. And a lot of my friends who dip it don't really like mint, but being it's new, it's the most talked about dip right now. That and Grizzly Dark Wintergreen. Now, the other part of the video, two subjects to talk about for y'all wrestling fans out there. If y'all, for my dipping buddies out there, period. If you've ever seen, 2 years ago I did was the last time I watched WrestleMania. 2 years ago I did a video, Grizzly Mint WrestleMania 28 review. Well, I'll do a WrestleMania 30 review, since last year I didn't watch WrestleMania. Year before last, I thought about doing once a year. I would do a WrestleMania review video for when I do watch WrestleMania, for those wrestling fans that want to know what happened, because WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl of wrestling, you know. It's the biggest event of the year in wrestling, the wrestling world. Well, two subjects, sad to say it, for you Undertaker fans, including myself. I hate mentioning it, because just talking about it makes me mad. The Undertaker, the legend himself, this year, mark it on your calendars, has lost his first ever WrestleMania. He is now 21-1. Rumor has it, before that match, rumor has it Sting was supposed to come to WWE and wrestle Undertaker, but I also heard rumors says that as long as Undertaker was only wrestling to keep the streak going, that I always heard that he will only retire if somebody can beat him. Well, he got beat Sunday. And I swear, everybody in that arena on TV, because, you know, I ordered pay-per-view, I saw everybody, that arena got quiet because everybody was in disbelief that he lost. And I'm still shocked. Here's the man that's never, ever been beat. I don't know what this means for his future. I heard he'll be inducted next year in the Hall of Fame. Now here's even worse news. What a sad week for wrestling, but after 3 days after being inducted in the Hall of Fame, legendary wrestler, one of my favorites because he was a big popular wrestler during my childhood, especially in the early 90s. Quote, well, not quote, but note that in 1990, the year I was born, and the year Undertaker started his career in the WWE, it's mighty funny Undertaker started his career 2 months after I was born, so ever since I started watching wrestling and knew anything about wrestling at the age of 5, he's been like a favorite of mine throughout the Attitude Era and until now, and still is my favorite, even though he lost, you know. And my thing is, the Ultimate Warrior died 2 days ago. A couple days ago. It was Tuesday, I think. No? Yeah, Tuesday. He was only 54. Most people would note the most famous match he ever had at WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleMania. It was a pay-per-view event, I know that, but it was Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. Ultimate Warrior being the Intercontinental Champion at the time. Hulk Hogan was the WWE Champion. And of course, Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan to win both titles. And that's one of his famous matches in his history. But Ultimate Warrior was an awesome wrestler. Thought I'd mention that for y'all wrestling fans. Oh, by the way, for people wondering who's the champion now, let's just say Daniel Bryan is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. No more Randy Orton. Thank God. I used to like Randy Orton, but now he just sucks. His attitude, thinks he's better than everybody. Well, in wrestling, that's what every wrestler wants to think, that they're better than the rest. But on to the next subject. My next dip video will be probably won't make a dip video until June, sometime in the middle of June, maybe. But I know definitely I'll be making one for 4th of July. And that's pretty much for this video, guys. One more thing. If you ain't tried this yet and you can find it, I'd suggest you go and try this. This is pretty good. Probably the best mint flavored dip out there on the market now. This beats Grizzly, Stoker's, in my opinion. Any mint out there cannot compare to this. To me, that's just my opinion. I've always been a Copenhagen fan for the last 4 years out of the 5 years. I started out with Timberwolf, and a lot of people out there would say Timberwolf sucks. You gotta admit, Timberwolf is the best. Timberwolf is like the Copenhagen of the cheap dips because it's cheap, affordable, you know. It's a welfare dip, as a lot of people call it, because anybody can afford it pretty much. But considering it's a cheap dip, that's what I started with. Timberwolf Wintergreen. Timberwolf is my favorite cheap dip. If I had to buy a cheap dip out of Longhorn, Kayak, Timberwolf, I'd go with Timberwolf any day of the week. But Copenhagen is I've always been a Copenhagen guy, dipper, whatever you want to call it, for the last 4.5 years, because for the first 6 months of my dipping, when I started dipping, I was dipping a lot of Skull and Timberwolf at first, trying to get used to dipping, you know. They always say beginner dippers should always try it, starting out with like the weaker dips, like Skull Peach and Apple and nasty. Well, they're not as good as they used to when I started dipping. Something about Skull, Apple, and Peach. Just last time I tasted Skull Peach, it tastes like hairspray to me. It's just got that chemical taste. Just doesn't taste like actual peaches. Timberwolf, on the other hand, is the only peach flavored dip that I will dip because it tastes like peaches. The closest dip that tastes like peaches. But with that being said, at the end of each video, I always say this, but you ain't a man until you got a can. Keep dipping and spitting. Now, I adapted this one saying. I thought I was the first one to come up with it, but I found out there's a dipper out there that uses this. But as a buddy of mine, a fellow dipper out there would say, if you ain't dipping, you ain't living. By a guy named Irish Dipper, I think. I like that saying, because that's true among dippers. I believe that. You ain't living, if you ain't dipping, you ain't living. I believe in that saying. That's a cool saying right there. Wish I would have thought about it first, years ago. At least somebody thought of it. But this been another dip video by Dipping Cup 90, and I'm out. See y'all around.